What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Mr. Chad back in the building. And I'm actually pretty excited to bring y'all today's video. And that's because I think it's actually really important. Because it's not taught in schools. It's not really talked about with family. The topic is a bit taboo and people really don't like to talk about it. But it's honestly crucial. So I'm going to be covering it. Today I did some extra research, wrote everything down on a paper. This is more structured than my usual video where most of the knowledge is coming off my head. I have my notes in my hand wrote every single one of them. And I'm pretty excited because I have good information now. If I get stuck, and then I can reference my notes to give you all better information. Hopefully there will be less walking around in circles or talking in circles. And yeah, hopefully just improve my content in general. Because that's the goal, just to get 1% better every day. Today's topic is about credit cards. Yes, the infamous credit card. Credit cards are viewed as bad by a lot of people, which is actually really sad because credit cards can actually be very helpful and can be used as a tool to help you get to financial freedom or just to build wealth in general. Although there are more downsides to credit cards than there are upsides, if you're informed and you know what you're getting yourself into, there's really like a 1% chance of you messing things up and really screwing yourself. But even then, if you just mess up once, it's not going to totally wreck you. And you mess up by just not paying on time, which you can set recurring investments. Not recurring investments. My apologies, guys. You can set recurring payments or automatic payments, so that never happens in the first place. So let's just get into credit cards. So, what is a credit card? Technically, it's just a plastic card with a bunch of numbers on it that you can swipe, and it seems like free money. But in reality, it's basically you getting like a tiny loan up front by a lender, most notably banks like Chase Bank or American Express, Citi, Discover. All those lenders, they give you a card that you can use to pretty much spend anywhere that you want. That's one of the nice things about them. And it's basically like them giving you cash out front and you paying them back later. They're a nice tool. You know how to use them responsibly. Let's go over the pros of owning and using a credit card. And there are a pretty decent amount of pros to them. First one is they're convenient and flexible. They're easy to carry around. They're really small. They're more convenient than cash. No coins. I mean, y'all have seen credit cards before, but I'm going to get autistic level into it. Just a little card the size of a business card that you can swipe and pretty much use virtually anywhere. I don't really know of many establishments or stores or businesses that don't accept credit cards. The only situation that I would see that they wouldn't use credit cards is like an under-the-table situation or someone that just started a really small business and is taking cash only. Otherwise, you can use credit cards for pretty much anything in any store, which is really nice about them. Credit cards also allow you a short-term buying power, just in case an emergency comes up or you just really want the money now, like you found like a really good investment on sale and you don't have the cash up front, you can make that purchase because you have the credit card. It's basically just getting a cash advancement. It's like getting cash up front and then you paying it back later. Although I don't recommend using it for emergencies. The next pro to a credit card is that it builds and strengthens your credit score. So essentially what you do whenever you put money on the credit card and you pay it off, you're showing the lenders that you are a reliable and consistent payer of your debts. And that's obviously good because then more banks are willing to lend you money because they know that you put money on the card and then you're able to pay it off. And by doing that, your credit score goes up. And by making your credit score go up, you're able to get better rates whenever you're applying to get a loan for a house or a car or whatever you're looking for. So if you have no credit history at all, you're not going to be able to make super big purchases. And if you are able to make those super big purchases, the APR that you're going to get is going to be absolutely awful because you're unreliable. So they're going to have to manage the risk somehow, and that being you just having to pay more money in general for the same amount of money as someone with a good credit score, because they don't have to worry about someone with a good credit score defaulting. I mean, they obviously have to worry about it, but the probability in their eyes is like, oh, he's done it for, let's see, 5 years in a row. He hasn't missed a single payment. What's the odds of him missing another payment compared to someone who has almost no credit history or no credit history at all? So that's another pro of using a credit card. Third pro is that there is purchase and fraud protection, which are most credit cards. Most credit cards have a zero liability policy. So if there were any unauthorized purchases and they are reported promptly, the major bank institutions will take care of that for you and you won't be responsible for it. The key is you have to report it pretty soon, because if not, they're going to find some way to get out of paying that money. So you just have to make sure if you see something fraudulent on your card, make sure to report that ASAP, because after a certain period of time, they're going to be like, why didn't you let us know about this in the first place? And there are also purchase insurance and protection policies. This is one thing I wish I had on my notes, but I didn't really think about it until now. I don't have any real world examples that I could give you with 100% accuracy, but I think like with some credit cards, you're able to buy, if you make a purchase, like let's just say you purchase a phone through your credit card and something bad happens to your phone, like you drop it and it cracks, or you accidentally drop it in water and it doesn't work anymore. Like the credit card company has some sort of like policy through that where you can get some compensation, or they'll repair it for you, or they'll fix it for you. But that all depends on the credit card company that you go with, or the bank that you go with, and what it says in the fine print. The last pro of owning and using a credit card is the rewards and perks that you get. And this is one of the main reasons that I like using credit cards right here, because I use them responsibly. I make sure I pay them off in full every single month. And by doing that, I have to pay zero interest. And there are some pretty good perks and rewards that you can get by owning some cards. So depending on the card, you might earn cashback, points, airline miles, extended warranties, travel insurance, airport lounge access, etc. So these are all real. You can watch YouTube videos. If you type in credit card churning. I'm pretty sure you spell it CHURNING. Credit card churning. It's where people open up multiple credit cards and they basically just meet the minimum requirements on payments that they already have to make. For example, car insurance or a phone bill, something that's reoccurring that you always have to spend money on anyway. You can put those on your credit card and you can get points or miles or whatever they're offering. And depending on the credit card you go with, they specialize in certain things. So there are credit cards like the Chase Freedom Unlimited, which is a flat 1.5% back on every single purchase, no matter the purchase. And then there are cards like the Citi Custom Cash, where the highest category that you spend in a month will get a 5% cash back. So it's like you're getting 5% free cash. And if it's a purchase that you already have to make, like gas or insurance or phone bill that you're going to have to pay anyway, if you put it on your card, you're going to be getting some points back for free without you even having to do anything, while you build your credit history and your credit and all that fancy jazz. So credit cards have some pretty good benefits to them. And then you might be asking yourself, so how are credit cards able to give out all these free points and perks on a $0 a year card? And this is where most people ruin their lives with credit cards. So let me list off the cons now. And this is where people literally ruin their lives with credit cards. And the first and main one being high interest rates. So credit cards carry high APRs, which is the annual percentage rate, which is the cost of borrowing over a year. In other terms, APR is what you pay when you carry a balance on your credit card. And let me tell y'all why this right here is what gets people stuck. The APR that they charge you is honestly kind of criminal. So if y'all have watched my investing videos, the compounding videos, the one with dividend versus growth investing, if you're investing into the S&P 500, you're averaging between 7 and 10% a year in growth. And that's 10% is on a good year. Usually averages around 7. Then the credit card companies are coming around and saying, okay, you can borrow this money here for about a month. And if you don't pay it within the month, you're going to have to pay us from as low as like 20% to like 30%. And I've seen some as high as like 60%. Like, it's absolutely outrageous how much they are charging you for the APR if you miss a payment or you make the minimum payment. And that right there is the exact reason why people stay broke. Because here in America, people love to buy things. We're consumers. Average American is a consumer. We like to go in, well, we don't like to go into debt, but we go into debt. We buy things that we don't need and buy things that are nice, and we make impulse purchases, and we'll say we'll work for it later. But if you don't have the cash to pay for it up front and now, you're going to be paying, it says APR is what you carry, is how much you borrow over a year. So you're thinking like, oh, it's like 29% at the end of the year, or 30%, or however much they're charging. Oh, at the end of the year, they're going to charge me this once. And that's just not the case. That's just not the case. So depending on the credit card provider, the APR is usually compounded daily or monthly, meaning the debt will grow faster than the APR suggests. That means you have, oh my goodness, this just makes me cringe. And I feel so bad for the people that are in credit card debt like this, because that means, like, let's just say compounds monthly. That means if you make a minimum payment of, let's just say $40, imagine if you have $100 and you have a 40% interest rate and you pay the $40, and let's just say they take the 40% from the $100 and they don't take the $40 off, that means that $40 that you just spent was all interest and you still owe $100. Like, you basically just paid them $40 of free money just to like push it back a little bit. It's absolutely criminal, y'all. It is absolutely criminal. But they're able to get away with it, and that's the reason why they're able to provide all these free points and rewards and everything like that, because the people who are in debt and are just making minimum payments or just not paying it all, like, they're funding all these free things for us. So it's like kind of like a wealth transfer. And I just, from the bottom of my heart, I don't want anyone to be stuck in the 40% APR, y'all, or even 20%. Like, that is just absolutely outrageous. Not worth it at all. So this is the kryptonite of compounding your wealth. This is the compound effect, but in reverse. And since you grow, on a good year, you grow about like 10% on average in the stock market. But like the lowest APR that you get on a credit card is like 20% nowadays. So even on the best year, you're down 10% already. And then that stacks year after year after year, or more like month after month after month. You can see how this will pretty much ruin your life if you don't take care of these payments like ASAP. But most people, whenever it comes to finances, they like to stick their head in the sand and act like nothing's happening. Just keep making the monthly payments. They don't want to see their money flow out of their account. They don't want to be, I don't want to pay all of this off right now. I'll just pay the small amount and pay for it later. In that scenario, you are absolutely screwing yourself. And I know I keep saying that this is like absolutely criminal, but it is, y'all. It literally is. If you get yourself into this situation, it's going to be hard to get back out depending on how much you're in debt. And like I said, I just don't want any of y'all to be in a situation like this ever. So if you're in credit card debt, 100%, without a doubt, your main priority in life should be paying off the credit card debt. Because if not, your buying power is being eaten at however much percentage the credit card company is charging you. It's just eating into your wealth. And you're making them rich, and you're having to work your butt off to make them rich. And that's just not all right. So make sure you prioritize that, because, I mean, some people might be like, oh, I'll just get an investment instead of paying this off. Or like, I'll just invest into SCHD instead of paying off my credit card debt. Well, if SCHD is giving you a 4% return in like dividends, and then it grows about like 5 to 10%, if you add all that together, it's like 14%. But 14 compared to 20, like, you're still losing 6% annually, which is just absolutely bonkers. So you can't really invest your way out of debt at that high of interest rate. At that point, just take a loan out. If you're starting a business, just take a loan out at like 8 or 9%, which is not even that good. Credit card is like the first thing that you want to pay off, because credit cards usually have the highest interest rate out of the highest APR out of pretty much every single financial tool that you can use. Credit cards have the highest APR that you can get out of like loans, or like a personal loan, or like you can go to a firm and get 0% APY money to buy something. At that point, you're actually making money if you think about it, because of the inflation, but that'll be for another video. Credit cards, you do not want to get into debt with them. I know I keep hammering it in. I know I keep drilling it in, but it is crucial. It is crucial. So yeah, credit card companies are using our primal lizard brains against us. They understand that humans crave instant gratification and want things right now. So they throw out a trap promising money up front and rip you off by giving you a horrendous deal if you do not pay them back. And then here I got it in an exclamation point with 3 underlines under it, which is why you only use credit cards if you can pay the purchase off in full at the statement due date. If y'all get one thing from this video, it's this last line. You only use credit cards if you can pay the purchase off in full at the statement due date. Otherwise, you're putting yourself behind a wheel. I mean, you're putting yourself behind in life and in building wealth. It is just a really bad idea, guys. I promise y'all. Do not make purchases on a credit card unless you can afford to pay it, because otherwise you're going to be getting ripped off, y'all. And it's not like they're charging you they're not even charging you something that's like realistic, you know what I mean? Like 10%, 10% still kind of high. But they're charging you freaking 20% minimum. Like, y'all, that is literally robbery right there. That is literally criminal. Okay. I can keep saying that this is criminal, or I can move on. And I think everyone wants to move on. So if you are able to pay off your purchases in full, you get the benefit of earning points, cashback, and increasing your credit score and limits. If you're able to use it responsibly and you understand what you're getting yourself into, you can get a bunch of free things. And it'll honestly help you out in the long run. But like I said, the cons are just so freaking dangerous, and that's not even it. Here's another con. There's a risk of overspending. Since all you have is just a little plastic card and you don't have cash in your hands, whenever you make a purchase, it makes it way less friction on making that purchase, because let's just say something costs $1,000. You're not seeing 10 Benjamin Franklins leave your hand into the cash register. You're just swiping a plastic card and just some numbers are changing in your bank account, which you don't even have to see. You don't even have to face. You really don't have to face it, especially if you stick your head in the sand and you make the purchase on your credit cards and you really don't even look at your credit card statements. There's way less friction on making impulse purchases or just purchases in general, because you're not seeing the money leave your hand. It feels like you're kind of playing with Monopoly money. It feels like you're playing with money that's not even yours, when in reality it is. It's not your money right now, but it's future use money. And in this game of life, you want to make your future easier on yourself and not harder. And by misusing the credit cards, you're making your future life hell. There are also fees whenever it comes to credit cards. Depending on the credit card that you have, there are some premium cards, like the American Express Platinum and the Chase Sapphire Reserve and American Express Gold. Like those cards, they have their perks. They have their perks, and if you're able to make, if the perks that come with the card fit into your lifestyle, and you actually use it already, then you can actually get some good use out of like an annual pay card. There's some cards that you have to pay an X amount of money per year of owning the card. But if you're able to get more than the X amount of money that you spent on the card through those rewards and perks, then you're actually getting more value from the card than spending the annual fee. But it only makes sense if you can get more money out of it than you put into it, which is where some research comes into play, and figuring out what you do in your own life and figuring out how you can make it work for you. But for most people, I won't even recommend getting a card with an annual fee to it. Just get something. Just get like a catch-all card, like a 1.5% on all purchases, and then have a credit card that has categories like the City Custom Cash, where you can make that pretty much a 5% in any category you want per month. There's like a whole science. It's like a whole art to it, and it's really fun to do. And it's really cool to see how you can make your money stretch for you. You know, it's honestly like a little game, and if you enjoy doing that, then you'll get some enjoyment out of it, and you'll also get some benefits with it as well. But if you're just a normal person who doesn't really want to deal with that, I don't recommend. I just recommend having like 1 or 2 cards, like a catch-all card, and then like a specialized card for like gas or something like that. There's also the credit score risk. If you make a late payment, or you have a really high balance on your card, or you just max out your credit limit. Like, let's just say you have a credit card with a $1,000 credit limit, and you put all 1,000 on there, and you just let it sit, then the banks are going to see that and be like, oh, like, okay, I mean, he's used all of it, and he hasn't paid it back yet. Like, he has no credit limit now. $1,000 is not a great example, because $1,000 is not like a lot of money. That's a lot of money to some people, but let's just say 10,000 instead. Let's say 10,000 instead. That's a better example. If you have like $9,000 already used on your credit card, then whenever you go to get a credit check, they're like, ooh, he already owes $9,000 of $10,000 on this card already. Like, I don't know. He's really kind of pushing it. You know, it makes it more of a liability to lend to you, which is why your credit score goes down. So, which is why it's so important to understand how the credit cards work, and to understand that you really need to have the cash to pay it all off at the end of the statement, because otherwise you really are screwing yourself. I mean, that's the main thing, y'all. I really hope y'all got something from this. At one point in my life, I had no idea how credit cards worked, and didn't even know that you could use them as a tool. At one point, I thought that credit cards were evil, and that I would only use cash to pay for everything. And by only paying cash for everything, you really are making your life harder. Unless you just have like millions in cash, then, I mean, if you're going to want to buy a house, or you're going to want to buy a car, you're going to need some sort of credit score. And in order to get that credit score, you're going to have to use the credit card. Because if not, you're going to have to pay way more APR, like on a house. Like, you could get, instead of getting a 5% APR for 30 years, you'll have to pay like a 10% APR for 30 years. That being just an example. And if you do the math on a calculator, whenever you compound that up, that 5% is a lot of money, y'all. That is a lot of money. And just because you didn't use a credit card, or just because you used the credit card incorrectly, like, y'all can save yourself so much money by just using it properly. I'm telling y'all, like, credit card can be a very helpful tool if you know how to use it. So in conclusion, credit cards can be a powerful tool if you know how to use them responsibly and understand the risk versus the rewards of them. Credit cards do have more downside than upside, which is why you have to be cautious about your spending. Credit cards are only scary if you are uninformed about how they worked. They are just another tool in the tool bag. Whenever you use the credit cards correctly, the rewards that you get are, like, you get a 5%, like at tops you get like a 5% cashback on select categories that are going to be limited, and in general you're going to get like a 1.5 to 2% back, which is still something, which is still winning, which is still getting free stuff. But then the downside is you could possibly be paying 25 to 30 to 40% more if you don't. So the upside is a lot smaller than the risk. So, which comes full back circle again to why it is so important to just have the cash to pay it all off. Because if not, y'all, I'm sorry to tell y'all, but you're really going to be effing yourself over. At least effing your future self over. You'll have the nice car now, or you'll have the nice gadget now, but you'll be paying for it for years and years to come, especially if you make the monthly minimum payments on it. You'll be paying for something cheap, like $1,000. You'll be paying that $1,000 payment for a couple years, and most of it is not even going to be paying that principal of the $1,000. It's going to be just paying interest. All that extra money that you're spending is just lining the pockets of the bankers. It's not even paying for the item that you actually bought. So I hope this was helpful to y'all. If y'all wanted a video comparing credit cards and understanding the perks and trying to have like a credit card set up, I'm thinking about making that type of video. I'm also thinking about making a video on like the steps to financial freedom and the steps to building wealth and prioritizing what you should spend your money on first. I have a bunch of ideas, and I'm actually really excited and just doing this video and planning it all out and doing all that is just filling me with energy in life. And I know if this helps just one person stay out of credit card debt, y'all, like, this is a W. This is a W. And it's crucial, and it sucks because it's not taught anywhere else. No one teaches you about this. Credit card companies have to legally show you how much they're charging you for the APR, how much they're going to be charging you if you don't pay or make the late payments. They have to show you that, but guess where they show you that? It's like in the middle of the freaking 100-page terms and agreements that you sign. I mean, no one's really reading through that. But they don't really talk to you about how it works in the bank. They don't really talk to you about any of that stuff. School doesn't teach you. Like, where are people supposed to get this information? So I wanted to put this out there, and hopefully it helps just one person out, and hopefully it stops you from going into debt and allows you to actually build wealth and have the ability to retire and have the ability to have options in your life. Because having the options and freedom is beautiful. It's beautiful having options and freedom. And by taking care of your finances, you're able to have a whole lot more peace of mind, a whole lot more options, and a whole lot more freedom. So that's that. Thank y'all for watching Mr. Chad. Leave a like if you liked it. Leave a dislike if you thought it was shit. Comment if you have something to comment. Subscribe if you like content like this and you want to support me. My goal is to get to 1,000 subscribers. I know I'm going to get there. How long it's going to take, I don't know. But any support is appreciated. Thank y'all for watching. Adios.